Production costs for Beyond the Lyric were underwritten by the following:
Stutzman's Guitar Center, Whirlwind Audio, Sound Source,
and by
Ultra Huge Studio.
Welcome to Beyond the Lyric, where we get the story behind some of the greatest songwriters in the upstate New York area. I'm Jerry Falzone.
And I'm Debbie Randyn. Our guest today is Lisa Bigwood, a soulful attitude, a commanding vocalist with a deep, sultry voice, a serious performer with serious songs. Her full-body tenor and fine finger-picking convincingly carry the blues. Her albums are treasures.
Lisa is more than just a songwriter. She is a superb storyteller. She's won contests, or at least she's been a finalist in contests in Telluride, Colorado, Merle Fest. She's had just a really tremendous career already, and she's really getting started at what she's doing. She just came out with a brand new CD called Intrepid. This is it right here, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But when you get a chance to hear what this album is like, you are going to be blown away by it. She's got a phenomenal band working with her. She's got a sound that it's just like walking next to a deep river. She can come off sounding like the girl next door just dancing at a hoedown, or she could take a song about going swimming in the moonlight and almost make it sound like a murder mystery. She is just a fantastic presence and a great singer and a great songwriter.
Growing up in upstate New York, like many girls, she started her life taking care of her family. She married young, and she had a busy life with her career and also going to school so that she could become a nurse. In time, her marriage became difficult, and her need to get the sadness out that she was dealing with was the start of her songwriting.
I know Lisa started out almost by accident taking one of her songs to an open mic night and found out that the reaction that she got from the audience that she was playing for was something that I have to believe really fulfilled something inside of her. She did a phenomenal job at the open mic, and I know that she's also started open mics herself where she's helped other songwriters get their act in front of people and help them actually develop their songs too. I can honestly say that one of the reasons that I got started playing, doing my own songs in this idiom, is because Lisa was so encouraging to me when I got started doing it.
Well, let's hear a little bit of Lisa Bigwood.
Come by my campsite, day or night, let you be forewarned. If you come by my campsite, day or night, let you be forewarned. There's a guardian at my door. There's a guardian at my door. Watches while I eat. Its eyes are open while I sleep. Every minute of the day, always watching over me. There's a guardian at my door. There's There's a guardian at my door. It sees in the dark. It hears miles away. It will discover who you are. And if you're not a friend of mine, it'll send you away.
Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, Terry.
That is a great song that you played. Maybe that's Guardian.
Guardian. Yes,
That's a great song, and you know, you've been around for a little while, and you had kind of an interesting way of starting out. But one of the things that I remember from the very first time I saw anything to do with Lisa Bigwood, Jess Spivak called you like one of the scariest singers he's ever heard.
It's my favorite review ever.
Yeah. What do you think he meant by that?
You know, I have spent a lot of time wondering about that. And I mentioned it at a gig last week because I was actually going to do that Guardian song. And so I kind of prefaced it with saying that about what Jess Spivak said. And I said, I don't think I'm scary. Do you think I'm? And it had been fun, you know, and the audience had been laughing, and I'd been joking around. And
I know
I don't think I'm scary. Yeah. And some guy in the front row said, you're a little bit scary.
I think that's called a heckler, though.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just the level of intensity.
I think you're very intense and you're very deep.
And I'm actually...
And your voice is that deepness, too, that goes along with it.
And people, they also say my songs are dark. I always hear that. And I realized not long ago that, you know, if you have an alto, very deep alto voice, I mean, I can't sing Happy Birthday and it sounds dark, you know what I mean? So that's just silly.
I happen to have a birthday coming up this week if you would
like to. You want me to sing Happy Birthday?
That's right.
No, it's okay. You really don't have to do that.
Sounds too sad. So dark.
Yeah, I'm going to be crying at my birthday anyway.
After a certain number of birthdays, they do get a little dark.
It is dark. I know.
I think also, you know, I write lyrics that are, what do I want to say? Like, I mean, there's a song that I wrote about a young man who died in a car accident, and I mean, you know, I don't pull any punches with that. I say, you know, he died on the highway as a young man. There's a line that says, bad wreck, they closed the coffin. I mean, you know.
That's dark.
And that's dark, and that's also a little, people are like, wow, you know, coffin.
Yeah, you don't usually get women writing songs like that, so that's a difference, too.
You don't.
And you do have a voice that when you talk about something like that, you convey that darkness without any problem. I mean, it just kind of comes across.
Yeah.
But I always loved that the scariest singer I've ever heard.
Yeah.
that was a really cool statement to say. You've had a couple CDs out in the past, but you've got a brand new one out here, and it's Intrepid. We'll show it over that camera right there. This just came out recently, so first of all, congratulations on this. There's something I was thinking about with this. As I was listening to it, you have a producer. I believe his name would be Bob Potter.
That would be his name.
And, well, he kind of like, he means something more to you than just being a producer, doesn't he?
Yeah, he kind of married me after we got done with the CD. Yeah.
So he must have liked the record?
Yeah, he liked it. The funny thing is that we learned so much about each other over the process of making the CD, which took several years. And at first I was all freaked out that it was taking too long, and I was really quite obnoxious to him, to be honest with you, which people who know me will not be surprised. I was like, come on, let's go. I'm not getting any younger here, you know.
Paying for time.
Yeah, TikTok. And then once I heard it, I started hearing the results. I never complained again because I thought, oh man, this is really good and it shouldn't be rushed because this is really good. So at least we thought it was.
Right. Well,
and now
it's helped bring that out of you too. With
oh yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
a really wonderful
to sing in
thing.
front of somebody who, you know, here's you brush your teeth and who knows what all. You know what I mean?
And what all?
And
That's
if we're
the hard
just and if we're just alone in the studio, you know, it's very kind of intense, but we work really well together, and we learn too. He can say the slightest thing, like I'll sing a song and he'll be like, too Dylan. I'm like, okay. I know I've got to sing it like less nasally or whatever.
I can't imagine you sounding like
Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, not at all.
It's on a continuum.
So everything's going okay with the marriage, and now that the CD is done, everything is...
Oh, it's wonderful. We're just couldn't be happier. It's amazing. We met each other in 1992 or 3 at Milestones. It was the old Jazzberries.
Oh, yeah.
And it was already Milestones, and he was doing sound for a show, and I think it was maybe the 3rd or 4th time I ever played on stage with, you know, sound reinforcement. And every other time it had been just a nightmare. It was way too loud, and it scared the living daylights out of me. And so this one was beautiful. It was clean and just nice, and it's the first time I sounded like I thought I did, you know. And so I went up, and there was a little sound thingy that was, you know, you had to walk up a few stairs, and I went up and knocked on the door and said, you know, he kind of stuck his head out. I even remember what I was wearing. This is pathetic.
Wow.
But
I bet he does, too.
yeah, he probably does. And I said, you know, just thank you so much. The sound was really great. It's the first time I ever heard myself. Ever really heard myself.
That's a real compliment.
Yeah. And he said to me, well, I really like your songs. And he said, here's my card. If you ever want to record anything or whatever, I'll help you in any way I can. And he said, by the way, that Cold Mountain River song, where was that set in a certain place up in the Adirondacks? Because I go up there all the time. And I said, oh, absolutely. It was at Long Lake. I could show you the beach where it was. And so that was, you know, we connected then. And we would meet for lunch and discuss the, you know,
isn't it something how something like that, a gig ends up being your husband? You know,
yeah.
It's wonderful.
That song is on this CD?
Yes, it is. And that's one of the
reasons.
reasons.
And you met him in 92?
I met him in 92.
That's a long time to be working on a CD.
Yeah, no, we weren't working on it then. We actually didn't see each other. We were friends for a while, and then we kind of parted ways and didn't see each other for 6 whole years. So we found each other through this long series of amazing coincidences in 2000. And
were your other CDs already out when?
No, they were not already out.
Wow.
And he took me to a festival just to show me. I remember it was like 1994. He was doing sound for a band down at Merle Fest in North Carolina, and he took me with him just so I could see what that world is like, you know. And I'm sure that was the weekend when we started realizing how very happy we were when we were together.
Yeah, and what you shared.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that was in 94.
But, you know, you brought up Merle Fest, and I know that in some of the things I've read about you, you won or were a finalist in the songwriting contest there,
Yep.
You won it?
Yep, in Merle Fest. Yeah, it was like, my song Woodland was like the 3rd best new bluegrass song of the year, which is just so weird. Because I'm not a bluegrass player or writer or anything. They kind of arranged it in a bluegrassy fashion on the CD. And,
yeah.
And
you're a little too scary for bluegrass.
Yeah, way too scary. And my voice doesn't carry well. So I really have to have either really quiet instrumentation or spare or really good, you know, vocal reinforcement, because a low voice doesn't cut through stuff.
Right.
The first 2 CDs that you had, I'm not exactly sure how this process works, but you were almost nominated?
Yeah.
Or what was going on with that?
That's scary in itself. They made it to what they call the Grammy consideration list, which means as they narrow the field, you know, there are so many left and there's still blah, blah, blah. And this is how I understand it. I could be wrong. I don't know. all I know is that I got a call from Jeff Spivak one day, and he goes, and he had interviewed me once or twice, so I kind of, you know, we knew each other a little. He called me up and he said, do you know that you're still on the Grammy consideration lists? And I didn't know even what that meant. And I said, I don't know. And I didn't even know the record company, you know, entered the thing. I didn't know anything about it. And so I'm sitting at home in my kitchen going, oh, I don't know. What's that? And he said, well, you know, there's 14 CDs still in the running, and you're one of them for Album of the Year and Best Contemporary Folk Album. And I'm like, what are you saying? And he goes, well, what I'm really saying is you need to get up here and do a photo shoot like stat, because we can't get caught having something huge happen to you, and we don't have any pictures of you. So I went up there and did, yeah, I was freaking out.
You just said something very interesting. You used one word, stat.
Oh.
Yeah, you're a nurse.
I gave it away.
Yes, you are a nurse. Yeah. And I know when we've talked before, you told me that you were like almost terrified when the first time that you walked up to play your guitar in front of people that were not people that you knew.
Oh, shaking, falling down.
And you were a nurse at that time too.
Oh, yeah.
So you have what one would consider a steady career. A pretty stable career.
Right.
And you, I won't say you threw it out because you're still a practicing nurse, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yes. But what is it that gets a nurse to go up in front of people and play and then become somebody who is as, I hate the word awesome. It just, but
it's okay.
But
you can say it.
Yeah. So somebody as awesome as you are, what does it take to just get that nerve up to go up in front of people and play a song that you wrote that you didn't even know you could do?
I had a friend drag me up there. I went to this open mic at it was Jazzberries at the time. Dady Brothers hosted an open mic every Tuesday. So I went to that looking for a friend of mine who was a poet, and I hadn't seen in years. He was somebody I knew like back in high school times. Someone told me he sometimes read his poems there, and I was very interested to go see him. So I went, and my friend Chris from work, she was a tech in the emergency room where I worked, and we went. And I had a couple drinks, I'm sure. And by the end of the night, and we stayed the whole night. I don't know why, probably talking. And I know that's hard to believe that I would do that. But
amazing.
It's a shock, but, you know. And then towards the end of the night, everyone was gone. And the Dadys were there, and there was a bartender named Kim behind the stage, behind the bar. And my friend Chris and I at this table, and the Dadys were like, doesn't one of you guys play or sing or like dance or something, because we've got another half an hour and we have, you know, we're kind of tired. And so we're laughing and joking with him. And then my friend Chris goes, well, she wrote a song, you know, but she's too shy and she doesn't want to play it. And I'm like, Chris, shut up.
I know you probably wouldn't.
And they were like, come on, honey, you know, and they like literally led me up there, and I'm like refusing, and I'm like, I don't have a guitar. And here's the guitar, you know. And so I sang one song, What the Heck, and I literally do not, and I didn't remember it like the next week. I didn't remember the whole thing. I was so scared.
Was that your first time?
Oh, yeah. Well, the first time since I was in, what, second grade or something, and played.
Well, you actually went up and played and sang your own song.
Sang, yeah, the first time I ever sang my own song.
Well, so you've gone from, you know, being that scared little person going over to Jazzberries to really creating what, I mean, honestly, I've heard this so many times. It's like one of my things that I'm just listening to all the time.
Wow.
It's just great music in here. Let's talk about this. There's one song on your CD, Intrepid, that it's called Cats in the Woodpile. And it's really funny to me because so much of what you do does have that real dark thing about it. And even this song, in a way, does. But it's so descriptive, and it's a song of just remembering, you know, all these things that happen. But the one line that I just want to ask you about is your toaster.
The toaster.
Yeah, from 1942, and you're still...
1940.
Oh, 1940.
Brand spanking new in 1940. And now we've changed it. It used to be brand spanking new in 1940. It was still spanking toast in 2004. Now, we sang it the other day. Tracy Grammer and I will still be spanking toast in 2024. And actually, sadly, it's not actually spanking toast. It would be, but the chord is old, and like Bob is very safety conscious, and he won't let me use it.
You know, if you get an actual
And you
Grammy
could do that
nomination,
song, Burn It
Yeah.
Down the House.
Yeah, I know, really.
if you get a Grammy nomination, then you know, actually you might be able to sell that on eBay for some pretty decent
Right,
money.
Yeah.
right. Well,
This,
I
this
still
is that.
have it.
This is my 1940 toaster.
Yeah.
Put it in
I
the Rock
think
and
it
Roll
was
Hall of Fame.
It was either my given to my parents after their wedding, I think, in 1940.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that,
crazy.
That's great.
and I did use it forever.
And you also remember those calico cats hanging around the woodpile?
Oh yeah, and there were a lot of them too.
Yeah,
It wasn't
well,
just a couple.
I've seen quite a few photographs of your home, and it seems like animals are something that you still...
Oh yeah, they're my peeps.
Beautiful dog, Molly.
I know.
I know. She's really gorgeous.
Molly won the dog lottery with.
Did she?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I believe she did.
She was a rescue at the age of 5, and
Wow.
so she's a
Yeah,
very
she got
happy
a
girl.
Good situation there on the couch with you.
Yeah, yeah.
I was reading someplace where somebody had asked you a question about, you know, where do you find your inspiration? Can you just sit down and then all of a sudden come up with a song? You said something really interesting about that, and it was more on the line of, I don't sit down and come up with a song, I'm in the song.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Because I just think that's fascinating.
Wow. I guess, you know, they just, like, each song takes me to the place where I wrote it. And I don't mean place like, I just mean physically the place. And so, I'm trying to think of a good example that's on the CD that's always helpful. I can't think of one from the CD. Well, I can. The song Drive, I wrote that after I took a trip to New York City with Don Cristiano and Laura Catraccia. They were playing with me in like a trio. We went down there to play it. CBGB's had like a thing called CBGB's Light. They had like a little other room, and they did this thing. And so we went down there to play. And on the way back, I mean, you know, it was still the, you know, you guys know you've been in a band, and the relief when the gig is over and it went well, and you're just all like happy. And so I think it was my Honda Accord, and we had the windows down, and Laura had brought these old tapes of Janis Joplin, and they're the ones where she's singing to like nobody, and then you hear like when she's done, and then things break, and you hear the waiters like sweeping. I mean, that kind of stuff. And it was just amazing, amazing. And so I got home and I wrote the song Drive, like based on that. And I remember writing it, and that was one that went really fast, and I had a band at the time, and I like wrote it in the morning, and then I started right out for warm-up with it in rehearsal. They never heard it, in fact, at a gig, and they were like, what is that? I said, oh, yeah, I wrote that this morning. But they take me to the place, you know, because they're always inspired by something that means something to me, or I wouldn't bother to write them.
I know.
So
That's
I'm always in it.
That's what brings it out of you.
But that's why I pretty much only do original stuff now, because I don't know.
It's hard to be in somebody else's song.
Yeah, it is. I mean, some people, and I did that all my whole life, actually, living in songs.
Right.
Yeah. I was talking to my mom the other day about it. My sisters, they were all like teenagers when I was born, so they were like almost of another generation. But they had this song. It was a Johnny Horton CD, and on one side it had Mushing to Alaska or something, which was my dream, by the way, when I was a little.
Mushing to Alaska.
Oh, yeah. And on the other side was Sink the Bismarck. The song Sink the Bismarck.
Oh, that was a great song.
May of 1941. War had just... Oh, I can sing the whole thing, trust me. But the drama, I think, I just love that. Well, I was 3, mind you, 3 years old, and I sat in a refrigerator box for probably several days straight, listening to that thing all day. And my mother was just telling me, she says, you would sit there for like 8 hours. Wow. And I wore I didn't know this part, this is funny, my dad had a boat, and he had one of those captain hat things, and I wore his captain's hat. And I had 2 yardsticks that I was using, get a load of this. And the song, of course, is about battleships in World War II, but I had these yardsticks that I was using as oars. So you know how when you have to row the battleship occasionally, you know.
Well, we're gonna have you do another song from the CD in a minute, but I wanted to ask you really quickly. You've had a certain amount of success up to this point. What more success do you want to have? Where do you want to take this now?
You know, I just want to get the music to the people that would love it. And whenever I say that, I always feel like I'm being some big phony, like when they ask Miss America what she wants, and she says, world peace, you know. But it isn't like that. It truly is all I want to do, you know. People really connect with my songs for some reason. They connect with them. They know they're sincere. That's been an amazing part of this whole experience. They know.
Well, you can tell.
And they come up to me, and they always do this. They go, we love your music. It's from here. It's from here.
Yeah,
and it is.
That's completely how it comes across.
And so I just want them to have it.
Well, what we're going to do right now is we're going to have you do another song that's coming from there, and I'm really looking forward to hearing it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you for coming out
Thanks for
tonight.
having me. It was fun.
And thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning into the show tonight. We're going to do one more song by Lisa Bigwood. If you would like to find out anything else about our show, go to our website, beyondthelyric.com. And right now, Lisa's going to do a new song from her brand new CD called These Days. The CD is Intrepid.
Sweet June sun, long lazy days, a bright evening star, soft moonlit haze. Campfire songs, wild banjo sound, sweet pepper smoke, a bright festival crowd. In these days without you, if there's one thing I learned, it's just what the days with you were. Morning train, cry in the night, afternoon rain, gold evening light. In these days without you, if there's one thing I learned, it's just what the days with you were. If ever we meet again, I will not pass you by. If ever we meet again, I will not pass you by. Sideways glance, slow fan of a smile, warm careful hands, sweet back road miles. In these days without you, if there's one thing I learned, it's just what the days with you were. In these days without you, if there's one thing I learned, it's just what the days with you were.
To learn more about today's featured artist or to view archived Beyond the Lyric music clips, go to beyondthelyric.com. Production costs for Beyond the Lyric were underwritten by the following:
Stutzman's Guitar Center, Whirlwind Audio, Sound Source,
and by
Ultra Huge Studio.
This program was produced through Penfield Community Television in Penfield, New York.